Hi, this is Kat. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to go over a couple of different ideas that I have to start using the Lucky bag that I got from Notebook Therapy. So this was the Lucky Myth Lucky bag for 2025 from Notebook Therapy, and I have kind of two main ways I am really excited to use it, but there are also a bunch of little things that I have in mind, and I wanted to kind of show some of the things and start using it right away. So the first idea is just like a monthly spread using this collection. I think that'll look so nice. The second is doing some reading journal stuff because there is this like washi tape set with a bunch of stickers, and they're very much like book themed here. And I think the fairy tale theme of this collection is just so perfect for a reading journal, and the colors look so nice. So I'm very excited to use it for that. But I can't wait that long because I already set up my first journal setup for the month of January for 2025, and that's kind of when I plan on really starting reading journaling. But there's also this cute little notebook, and this was one that after thinking about it, I think I know how I want to use this. And I don't know if this happens in a lot of different countries, but at minimum, in East Asia, there are a lot of places where when you go travel around East Asia, they have stamping stations. So you'll go to like a tourist attraction, and then there's gonna be like a little table with a bunch of stamps, and then you can go in and stamp, stamp your notebook or stamp your paper. And I always forget. So I always forget to have something, and then you end up like, I don't know, for me at least, I end up like buying a postcard or like ripping a receipt and then doing stamps that way and then sticking that into my journal. But how cute would this be for a traveler's journal? Like if you use this as a mini travel journal and then you just use this just for stamping, that would be so cool. So that's how I plan on doing it next year. I plan on going to Japan in like April of next year. So that's what I'm gonna use this notebook for. Okay, so that's that one. And then today I thought what I could do is two things. So the first is just to create a calendar setup. I'm using this notebook as kind of like a health journal, and I don't plan on sharing too much of this because I'm still kind of figuring it out, but it has to do with like physical exercise tracking and healthy eating habits tracking. And so I have like a monthly setup, a calendar setup that I use for tracking like my eating habits and like, taking vitamins or whatever. And so this is kind of like what it looks like. And I use like different lines or different symbols and lines to show what I've done that day. And this is what it looks like for November, but I want to do the same setup or like a similar setup for December. So I'm gonna try to use the Notebook Therapy Lucky Myth collection to set up my December calendar. Okay, so that's one. And then the second thing is my learning journal. So I have a learning journal where I write notes whenever I take a class or I'm doing some type of like intentional learning. And I've been out of school for quite some time now, but I do have a professional development fund with the company I work at, and I'm taking a course through that. And I also really like reading just like work-related things, and I will then write in notes because if I don't write them in a notebook, I will forget immediately. And I think we all consume so much content that sometimes it can be really hard to remember. So this is kind of what my learning journal looks like. And the way I encourage myself to take notes is I add in little decorations. So I usually put stickers and things like that to make it more appealing for me to take notes in. And that also helps me read a little bit more when I look back on it. So I thought we could do a couple of pages to set up the notebook pages for my learning journal using this Lucky Myth collection. I'm just going in here with my ruler to start sketching out and drawing out the lines for my calendar setup. So in December, I have 5 rows for this month. I decided to start my calendar setup on a Sunday instead of a Monday like I usually do because I didn't want too many rows to prevent me from being able to decorate as much as I would like to because I really want to play around with some of the items in this notebook, like Notebook Therapy Lucky bag. So that's kind of why I went with the days of the week the way I do. And we'll see how that goes, because I'm kind of worried of like accidentally marking in the wrong days, because I'm just like used to a certain weekly setup. But that's okay, we'll figure it out. And honestly, I think once you get started and you do like daily tracking, it'll just come naturally anyway. But yeah, I started to use this washi tape to decorate the border, and I love this washi tape. It is so beautiful. I love this like dark magical vibe to it. It's the gold foil is just so gorgeous. And I also use a little bit of that thicker dark blue washi tape later on as well. And sorry, my camera is like a little bit slanted. I need to adjust the notebook, but I promise it will be straightened out really soon. And this next part is kind of fun. I had a piece of paper that I had painted with watercolor a really long time ago for another project. And the goal was really just to make it look like parchment paper, or I think it was for like designing an old map or something like that. So now I can use it for my journaling. And I think the color looks really good, and I think it works really well for this type of like old fairy tale magical vibes type of thing. So I really want to add a little bit of color here. I also just think in general, as I was setting up this calendar and as I was setting up the other designs later on, I really do think that this collection of washi tape and stickers would work best on craft paper or color paper. And I'm so convinced of that. And it's just such a shame that their notebook was not craft paper or blackout paper, or just like, you know, like that it was a bit of a dud in this collection, because otherwise it's a really beautiful set of items. Anyway, now I am going in and stamping, and I love these stamps too. The designs are so cute and so pretty. I'm not the best stamper, so I apologize that it's not as aesthetically pleasing as it could be. I'm still working on my technique, and I think it's just a matter of me needing to be a little bit more patient, because you know, as you can see here, like not all of it is like perfectly stamped. I should have like pressed the ink pad a little bit harder. And one thing about stamping is that I always forget how long it takes for ink to dry. And I always have a little black smudge whenever I am doing any kind of stamping. And I just need to learn to be more patient and to take the time to really align my stamps. But that is why you're gonna see little smudges everywhere. Or not everywhere, but just in certain places. And it kind of annoys me a little bit. But I'll get better at it, because I really love the way that they look, and I think they look so good. So yeah. Anyway, as I continue on to my calendar decorating, this is really the fun part of just adding on stickers and avoiding the stamped parts. But I used the sticker roll, and the reason I colored up and colored out the days of the week earlier on that I'd written out earlier on is because I remembered that the sticker roll had the days of the week, and so I thought it was a great opportunity to use those stickers. I mostly use the sticker roll stickers from that big sticker roll set, but I also pulled some stickers from the sticker sheets, and I think they also look really good. They just add like a little bit more of color to the page. I think that with this journal in particular, with that white dot grid background, it can look very high contrast compared to like the black washi tape and the dark blue washi tape. And that's why I kind of do wish that this was like craft paper instead. But I think it looks really nice, and I do think it looks very decorated and whimsical after everything is kind of glued on together. And one thing about the way that I typically like to journal or use this calendar setup is that I will draw in like the little symbols and lines to track my habits over the course of the month. So I think that at the end of the month, it will look a lot nicer than it does look right now. So I'm excited to see how it looks in the end. I think one of my favorite setups is the monthly calendar setup, just because I love being able to use decorations in this way. And I don't know, like, let me know down in the comments, what is your favorite type of setup in your journal? Do you like a calendar setup? Do you have a go-to favorite? Is it the cover page that's your favorite? I'm really curious to know, because I think that we spend a lot of time on the things that we love the most. And for me, it's probably the calendar setup. So that is my calendar setup. And now we're gonna move on to my learning journal. I have 2 examples here I wanted to share for my learning journal, and I will probably do more page setups in the future, but I don't know if I'm going to film all of it. So for this first setup, I'm just going in with a dark blue pencil to color in the 2 corners here, and it's going to serve as a base for some of the stickers. And if you look at the sticker sheet on the right of the screen, that's kind of what inspired me for this setup, because you have like those sticker sheets with like a little bit of gold foil and this like dark bluish background that looks kind of like cloudy and smoky and really beautiful. And I love like this dark blue tone to this collection. I honestly wish that there was even just a little bit more of that blue running throughout, but that's kind of what I'm doing here. And I'm mostly using 2 things in this collection for this setup. So I'm using the sticker sheet, and then I also used the PET tape that came in the washi set. And if anyone has any tips on how to use PET tape correctly, please let me know down in the comments. I struggled so hard. You see this unicorn here on the screen and these little PET tape parts that I cut out. I really struggled to take it off of the tape roll. Like, it takes me so long, and I have to really dig my nails in there to get it to like unstick from the rest of the plastic, if that makes sense. So let me know if you have any tips for me, because I would really appreciate that. But anyway, this is the rest of the setup. So it's really simple, and I just plan on writing a lot in the middle. And then kind of moving on to the next page, this is also a very simple setup because the goal is for me to use this to write notes. So it's not very complicated. I basically go into each of the 4 corners of the 2 pages, and I'm going to create a little bit of a border design with some calligraph pens. And again, my stamping is not perfect here, so I'm sorry that it's not as beautiful as it could be, but I'm still learning, so thanks for bearing with me. Yeah, see, I kind of like stamped it awkwardly here, but that's kind of what it's looking like so far. And now that I'm done all of this stamping, which I will definitely try again in the future because I really want to get better at it, but I do think it looks good overall, and I think that the border design here that I'm doing with the marker is really helping it. So I'm just going in with a really, really dark blue, and I was inspired by the actual Lucky Myth box that the Lucky bag came in. So it had like a dark, like almost black background, and then it had these beautiful bright blue roses. And how cool would it have been if we had a washi tape that looked like black lace, but then it had like blue flowers in it, like blue roses specifically. So that's what inspired the border design, and I'm just going in really carefully to not touch the ink as much as possible. And I did kind of remember that for the most part, so there's a lot less smudging in this setup. And I think that when I do write my notes, I will also try to write my notes with a blue marker or a blue pen, and hopefully it'll look super, super nice. One other thing I thought about was that because some of those stamp designs have blanks in the middle, you could either write like the date, or you could write little notes or do little doodles in them as you're taking your notes. So I think I might do that as well, and I think it'll really make the page pop a lot more. And that's it. I hope this video was helpful to inspire you if you also got the Lucky Myths Lucky Bag from Notebook Therapy. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!